Have you ever felt like something was following you, but when you turn around, nothing's there? What if I told you that some creatures are lurking, unseen by most, but feeding off your emotions? And once they touch you, they never let go? This is the story of the Hollowers, beings that devour more than just your fear. Stay tuned to learn how they hunt, how they feed, and how one person's terrifying encounter could change everything. Can you see them? No, of course not. If everyone could see them, the streets would be filled with panic, and the news would be full of distorted images and fragmented clips broadcasting non-stop. But that's not the case. No one talks about them. No one even whispers about these creatures. Maybe only those who touch them can see them. In that case, I don't know how useful this discovery is. Maybe it's completely pointless. Maybe it's hopeless. But I can't allow myself to give up now. There's still a small part of me clinging to something that resembles a soul. There are these things, creatures, monsters, parasites. I don't know what to call them exactly. They're not human, but they aren't the typical monsters either. They're not ghosts, but they're not fully physical beings. They're more like something born from emptiness, from the depths of impenetrable darkness. No one can see them, but they walk freely among us, choosing their prey carefully, watching, waiting for the right moment. At first, you can't even notice them, but when they touch you, that's when the real nightmare begins. A feeling that can't be described, as if something is devouring you from the inside, something that pulls your soul and leaves you hollow, cold, empty of everything that made you human. The first time I saw them, I thought I was going crazy. It was 3 months ago, when Sunny called me in the middle of the night. Sunny wasn't the kind of person to dramatize or exaggerate. He was always balanced, calm, someone who made you feel safe. But that night, his voice was different, trembling, broken, like a lost child in an endless nightmare. "Leon, can you hear me? Can you hear me well?" There were whispers in the background, distorted sounds as if someone else was with him in the room, or maybe something else. "Leon, I swear I'm not crazy. There's something here. Things are chasing me. They've touched me, and I see them now. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." Then silence. I could hear his heavy, rough breaths as if they were the breaths of a man dying. "They're taking something from me, Leon. They're tearing me apart from the inside." At first, I didn't understand what he meant. I thought he was under the influence of something or having a nervous breakdown. But I was wrong, terribly wrong in a way that can't be fixed. He saw them because he touched them. Not long after, his nightmare became an undeniable reality. When they found his body days later, Sunny was no longer the man I had known. He wasn't even human in his final moments. There was no logical explanation for what happened. Sunny, the man who had dedicated his life to helping others, the man who loved his dogs and planted flowers for endangered butterflies, slaughtered 9 people with his bare hands. How could a man weighing 59 kilograms and standing 175 centimeters tall do that? How could he kill 9 people while 4 police officers tried to subdue him using tasers, pepper spray, and batons, only to eventually have to shoot him? I saw the footage from the police cameras. I can't erase it from my mind. His face, it wasn't Sunny's face. His eyes were dead, like empty holes. Yet there was something inside them, something staring through them, something indescribable. He wasn't screaming, he wasn't laughing, he wasn't angry, he wasn't human, he was empty. But I didn't understand the truth until later, when I saw them for myself. When they touched me, just like they touched Sunny. It was a week after Sunny's funeral. I was driving late at night on an empty road barely lit by the dim streetlights. There was no one, no cars, no pedestrians, just me and the silent road. Then I felt it. A cold, rough hand pierced my chest as if it were an icy blade. There was no one in the car with me, but I felt it. I felt something pulling something from inside me, something I couldn't even name. The pain was unbearable, as if something was tearing me apart from the inside without touching my body. When I opened my eyes, it was there. A being standing outside my window, tall, its limbs unnaturally thin, its fingers sharp like claws, its skin, if it could be called skin, it was more like broken glass reflecting the void. It had no eyes, no mouth, just a black emptiness devouring the light around it, and in its hand There was something glowing, like a ball of light, but it wasn't just light, it was my soul. I saw it being ripped from me. I saw it swallowed into its non-existent mouth. I saw it fade into absolute darkness. I tried to scream, but my voice didn't come out. I tried to move, but my body didn't respond. All that was there was fear, pure fear, raw fear, a fear I had never felt with such intensity before. Then, it released me. I fell to the ground, gasping, trembling. I looked at it, and it was still there, watching me, but it didn't move. It didn't chase me, because it didn't need to. It had already touched me. Since that day, it hasn't disappeared. I see it everywhere. In the dark corners of rooms, staring through windows, following me in mirrors, waiting for me when I close my eyes. But it's not alone. The Hollowers are not just one entity. They are many, stalking the world in the shadows, devouring people one by one, hollowing them out until nothing remains but the empty shell, then leaving them mere human puppets, wandering aimlessly until they collapse entirely. I'm not an exception. I feel them around me now. I feel their cold breath on my neck. I feel their long fingers stretching towards me, waiting for the right moment to tear me apart completely. And I know I won't escape, because, just like Sunny, I've already become one of them. The end, or maybe not. I am still recovering, but the news is not good. In fact, it's worse than I could have ever imagined, more than anyone could expect. It doesn't matter how many miles I travel between me and that thing. It always catches up to me. Everywhere I go, every second of my day, it's there. Whether I'm on a plane, in crowded streets, or even in abandoned places, I can't escape it. I tried running away, crossed countries, went to the other side of the world, but I couldn't get a full 24 hours of rest. Even in the most tranquil places, those that are supposed to be safe, there's something unnatural hovering over me. Something heavy, sinister, making me feel like I'm being watched at every moment. I've abandoned everything, my family, my friends, the life I once lived. I ran to the other side of the country, then to the other side of the world. I thought maybe I'd find a place where it couldn't reach me, but I was wrong. I can say now that running didn't bring me any peace. It's taken more from me than I could handle, more than anyone could bear. I no longer miss the life I left behind. There's nothing in me that longs to go back. But my heart, yes, my heart still aches. I left my wife and kids behind. It's like a part of me died with them. I cried because I know how confused they must be, how frightened, how sad. But me? All I can feel is this unbearable loneliness, nothing else. Sony was right. At first, I didn't believe him. He told me that I would lose my ability to feel, that everything would become hazy over time. And now I see he was right. I've lost the natural ability to feel, but I still remember what I should feel. It's like I'm living in a body that doesn't feel. My mind tries to tell me what I should do, but my heart says nothing. I understand now why Sony went mad. How could anyone's mind bear this? How could a person stay sane in the face of this never-ending nightmare? I can't stop sleeping. I can't stop eating. Every time I try to rest, it attacks me from the inside. Something digs into my bones, tears me apart, empties me from within until I can no longer breathe. Every time I stop, I feel like I'm losing a part of myself, like I'm losing my soul itself. Even if I survive this, will I still be the same person? Will I still be the person who left his family behind? Will I be able to return to my life? My only question now, how can I go back to my family when I can't feel anything for them? How can I face them when I've become something else, just an empty shell that holds no feelings or love? Will they see it in my eyes? Will they feel it? Maybe it's better for me to live alone, away from them. But how can I make that decision? Is it wrong? Is it truly horrifying to think this way? My mind screams at me that I'm breaking, but my heart doesn't say anything. What scares me more than anything is that I might not survive. I may be too weak. I don't have the strength to endure what's happening. I've started hearing whispers. Yes, whispers coming from the dark, from everywhere. Strange whispers, in every corner. On the plane, in the seat next to me, it asks me to kill the old lady sitting beside me. It asks me to kill the taxi driver, steal his car, and run. No matter how far I go, I can't escape it. Its whispers follow me everywhere. I feel like it's watching me, getting closer in every moment. Even after all this, I can't escape. I can't escape this creature. Every time it seems like I'm getting away from hell, it shows up somewhere else. Just as Sony said, it's like a disease you can't shake off. But what terrifies me more is that I can't stop thinking about it. Even if I survive, will I still be the same person? Will I be able to go back to my family? Will I feel like I'm a part of them again? I've been searching for information all along. Every time I discover something, I realize we're in deeper trouble. I've found so much evidence to support my belief. You can't see these creatures until they strike you. They only appear when they're near you, only when they claim you. But when you're in their presence, everything becomes dark, and the more tragedy there is in a place, the more they multiply. Cemeteries, hospitals, abandoned places, these are their hotspots. I've even seen them on television sometimes in reports about mass victim stories or horrific events. What's increased my fear is that I've started noticing something strange. The more tragedy in a place, the more of them there are. The greater the suffering, the stronger they become. It seems they feed off our pain. Maybe they live off human anguish, off our terror. They thrive on it, doing whatever they can to create more. As for weapons, nothing works against them. Guns, fire, tasers, salt, silver, the sacred stars, even holy books, nothing at all can stop them. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. With every attempt, your suffering intensifies and you realize they are far stronger than you. But what's worse is that they don't feel pain. They don't know fear. They are just creatures of void. No identity, no soul. The closer you get to them, the colder it becomes. A cold that's unbearable. It's not the usual cold, but something else. Something incomprehensible. It makes your body feel like it's never been warm, like it's been empty since the dawn of time. It doesn't stop, not even after hours. It's a cold that comes from the creature itself. It's pure zero. Now, regarding my guesses, I believe they activate because of tragedy. That's why they try to push their victims to commit horrendous acts. I've seen them on the screen. I saw one of these things recently in a report about mass victim stories. I even went back and watched reports about previous events, and sometimes I saw them there too. Not every time, of course. Some people are just truly evil. But not all of them are like that. I have to believe that tragedy weakens our defenses or strengthens theirs. The more tragedy they create, the more they feed on it. I also think they must leave a mark on their victims, something that shows that the prey belongs to them and warns others to stay away from their territory. When I tested weapons on one of them, it acknowledged my presence, but it didn't try to retaliate. It just stood there, staring at me for a while before going back to its hunt. I think they're intelligent. They definitely show deliberate behavior. My cat loves to wait until I lose consciousness from exhaustion before striking. It enjoys mocking me. On my way to the airport, I was stuck in traffic. While I was waiting, it ran in and out of my car several times. It crawled into the back seat and just sat there, staring at me through the rearview mirror. I asked it its name, but it didn't answer. I asked it why it was chasing me, but it didn't answer. I asked what it wanted, but no reply. I asked if it was the one that killed Sony, and it laughed. I don't know how much strength I have left. This experience has taken so much from me already, but I will do everything in my power to survive, to pass on the information I can, and to overcome this ordeal. If any of you are facing the same hell, stay strong. You'll need all your strength to face this nightmare. The story that was told opens up a wide door for analysis and discussion regarding the nature of the invisible creatures that feed on human emotions. We can interpret the story from several aspects. 1. Psychological symbolism. The creatures in the story represent internal obsessions and emotional pain that a person experiences. They are invisible forms representing fear, anger, and despair that drain the individual internally. These emotions only appear when touched, reflecting how negative emotions impact a person, with their effects often only becoming apparent after it's too late. 2. Emotional void. The story focuses on the loss of one's emotions and the consequences of that loss. The idea of emotional emptiness is central to understanding these creatures. They do not consume bodies, but souls and feelings, reflecting how psychological crises and traumatic experiences can empty a person of their sense of life. Number 3, mental and intellectual resilience. The creatures cannot be defeated by any traditional means, such as weapons or sacred rituals. This may symbolize that psychological crises cannot be easily overcome. Sometimes, the best way to deal with these crises is to learn how to coexist with them, rather than trying to forcibly eliminate them. Number 4, cosmic or metaphysical interpretation. On another level, the creatures can be seen as symbols of mysterious beings from other dimensions or the invisible world. This idea aligns with some paranormal theories suggesting that spirits or entities feed on human energy, whether negative or positive. Number 5, I reference to tragedy and catastrophe. It is mentioned that these creatures grow stronger with the accumulation of tragedies. This could refer to how traumatic events or disasters affect a person, leaving them in a weakened state where their emotions become more vulnerable to being drained. If we consider the creatures to represent tragedies, we could say that they feed more on people going through difficult situations. The story is not just a horror tale, but a reflection on human nature in the face of emotional emptiness and how emotions affect one's being. It also offers a profound look at how psychological suffering impacts a person and how one can continue living despite the internal void. In the end, the story of the Haulers remains a profound warning about the impact of our negative emotions on our lives. These creatures that feed on pain, anger, and despair remind us of how our obsessions and psychological crises can consume us if we are not aware of them. Perhaps these creatures are no more than embodiments of the complex emotions we face, but what we know for sure is that the more we allow them to expand in our lives, the harder it becomes to rid ourselves of them. What we should learn from this story is not to let these inner monsters control us, but to confront them and seek ways to overcome them before they become an inseparable part of our existence.